if you're like, I'm not into social media, I'm not into these internet platforms, right? Then just tell me you don't want a job. Tell me you don't want to make no money.
Yeah.
Because that's just where we are, right?
Yeah.
So, regardless of what you feel, right, you have to adapt to the world. And right now, it's a tech world, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to work at a tech company and you're not using the technology, it may be a little difficult to break in.
So at Tech is the New Black, we are constantly talking about breaking into tech, scaling in tech, and launching your own tech business. But those last two pillars cannot possibly happen without the first one, which is breaking into tech. And there's no one better suited to answer questions about breaking into tech than our guest that we have today. So it's really important to hear some of the things that our guest is going to talk about, not just breaking into tech, but specifically maybe even setting yourself up to be the kind of person that helps other people break into tech. So I want to introduce y'all to our guest. Not going to mention the company that they work for, but we're definitely going to post their LinkedIn information, and y'all can check them out on LinkedIn, connect with them, and see all the cool things that he's doing. But bro, Jason, do you want to Jason or Jay?
I go by Jay, but either way it's fine.
I feel cooler with saying Jay.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel cool with saying Jay. So it's actually like wow, because this is our second time seeing each other. Our first time, our last time seeing each other, and first time was, like you mentioned, it was pre-pandemic.
Probably 2019.
Yeah, and I was not in tech. Tech wasn't even like a thing on my mind.
No, it's crazy because when we did meet, we started following each other, and I kind of seen your transition.
Yeah,
and it was really interesting. So for one, shout out to you for getting to where you are, man. I seen it, firsthand. Yeah,
bro,
for sure.
I appreciate it, man. Likewise, I was watching you, and I was like, what? Rhea gonna beat me up because she was just saying earlier, like, are we gonna be saying this on the podcast? But I'm gonna say it just cause. I'm gonna blame it on the fact that we're a couple shots in right now. I was like, what does this nigga do?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yo, he's clearly doing something like dope, like, you know, and it wasn't, I hate to say it, but it wasn't like giving scammer vibes or none of that stuff. I was like, no, he seems like a positive, like well-rounded dude. Yeah. And I was like, he's killing it. I was like, whatever he's doing, he's killing it. He's living life. Yeah. And it was really funny that going back to you saying like, congratulate me, which thank you for that, bro. Like some months back, you hit me up, was like, oh, hey, bro, by the way, I'm in tech too. I was like, oh, it makes sense.
It all makes sense now.
It all connects now. Yeah. It all makes sense. Yeah. Bro, so, I mean, congratulations to you, man, for being in the industry.
Thank you.
Just, man, again, I don't know, like, your entire story. We're going to talk about it here. But, bro, just congratulations, man, just for what you've done, you know, and yeah, dude, it's super dope. Just even watching you, not even knowing what you were doing, but just watching you, seeing you, being like, yo, whatever he doing, man, this man living life, he enjoying himself, and that's all that matters. Like, y'all, love to see it.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. It's been a long journey, man, but every day you got to figure something out, and people like you help other people figure things out. So, man, it's good to have you. Good to be here too.
But bro, I mean, I help people figure stuff out, but you are actually in a position like you actually honestly like help people truly get in, like with you being a recruiter in big tech.
Yeah. To talk about that, I guess my angle was a little bit more behind the scenes, right? So I really understand what the process is like to get into big tech, and I understand that's a really thorough process, right? So with me knowing what I know, I like to tell people like, you know, how to do it, kind of how to crack the code, right? I wouldn't call it a loophole, but it's more about being informed, right? And a lot of times when I talk to people about it, getting into tech, like whether it's software engineering or recruiting or whatever the space may be, it's a little bit overwhelming to, you know, the people. But the main thing is like you can't be what you can't see, right? And so typically minorities growing up, we see a lot of athletes and entertainers, right? And so that's what we aspire to be because we see them as successful. Yeah. But once you get into that tech space, you see how successful you can be in tech, right? Yeah. But then you have to share the light to other people who don't know, right? So they can possibly enter into that realm. So that's what I'm here to do. That's what I enjoy doing. And it's nothing like seeing people's faces when they get the big check, man. Yeah. It makes me happy, you know?
Yeah, bro, it's so wild because one of the things I've been thinking about more and more is just how it's like, man, because obviously our community, like every community in general, everyone loves athletes. Everyone looks up to athletes and they're like, oh man, they're successful, you know, they're killing it. Yeah. And for the short time period that they're able to be athletes. But it's like, man, more and more, I'm like, yo, I'm almost seeing people getting hired and getting in this industry with the same level of respect and excitement that people see when they see their family members like getting recruited or to play basketball or football with a certain league. It's a big deal.
It's a game changer. So what people don't understand, or what a lot of people don't understand, is the money that comes with it, right? Money is the incentive for a lot of things, right? People do a lot of things for money. But if you could do something legal for good money, right, it might be worth hearing about, right? And something that most people don't know is, like, you know, they work their job and they focus on the salary, right? I want to get 6 figures. I want to make 100,000. I want to make 200,000. When you get into this tech industry, all right, you're going to get your 6 figures, but you're going to get equity in that company. And depending on how good that company's doing, you reap the benefits, right? So outside of your work pay, you're still getting hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I've done deals with people, $1 million over 4 years. That's outside of salary, right? So you're getting $250,000 every year just because you work at top tech company A. You know what I mean? So outside of the salary, and that's how people really set themselves up for success. So you can have your salary, you can pay your day-to-day expenses. You keep that equity check for 3 or 4 years, you get fully vested. You can cash out on $1 million crib. You see what I'm saying? Don't let your company be in like a pre-IPO phase and then go public and really, you know, multiply. So, you know, maybe an initial $1 million offer could turn into $2 million in a matter of like weeks, days, months. You never really know. So now that I know it, right, I have to share it. I have to put it out there. People need to know that it's possible to break into it. You just got to take it one step at a time. And if you're not into, you know, the engineering thing, it's other ways to come in and get the bag. Yeah,
bro, that's really good. I love you mentioned like the 4-year $1 mil. Just as that example, it's like getting an athlete getting a contract like for like $1 mil, saying like $1 mil, you play for 3 years, 4 years, you get $1 mil. It's the same thing.
Oh yeah, you don't have to be an athlete, man. I'm seeing people 5'6", 5'7" get this $1 million deal, man. 5'6", 130 pounds. Let's go. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny, yeah. For people who they're like, oh man, I can't be an athlete because of my genetics, bro. You better get in tech.
Figure something out. Listen, we telling you about it right now. So listen to what we're saying if you really want to know what's up. You know?
Yeah, I love that. All right, so let's kind of jump into it. So how long have you been a tech recruiter in big tech?
So I've been in the industry 4 or 5 years approximately. To get to the technical recruiter stage, it's a bit of a process, right? You can't just come in and be a technical recruiter. It really takes some polishing. But to get started, right, all you really need is a personality, understand how to talk to people, and the career kind of unfolds itself.
Yeah. So technical recruiter, because one of the things I just even recently learned this is that every recruiter is not like, especially like when you're talking big tech, is that recruiters, y'all are kind of siphoned off into specific industries. So someone who recruits for maybe sales engineers or tech sales isn't going to be recruiting for, you know, cybersecurity, or isn't going to be recruiting for software, you know, engineers.
Right.
So with you being a technical recruiter, like, I guess what are some of the things that you have to know to be, I mean, not just you're not just a technical recruiter, you're a senior technical recruiter. Yeah.
So it's a lot of things that's worth knowing, right? And I think what's important is to know and fully understand what you're looking for. As a senior technical recruiter, right? Like you said, there's different areas or disciplines that you could go into. I'm in software engineering, but needless to say, it's a lot of different opportunities in the software engineering space, right? So you just need to understand exactly what you're looking for, the caliber of person you're looking for, what the company likes, what that company doesn't like, and go out there and find that person, right? And it's really important that you go out there and find, or try to find a minority person as well, right? Because we want this to be an even playing field, right? We want everyone to have those type of opportunities. So, like I said, knowing what you're looking for, understanding your job is really important to the success of being a recruiter.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of like a tangent, but just off something you said. So obviously, as a technical recruiter, you want to make sure that, hey, you're not just hiring people of color, but that you know, you are focused on, hey, who's a good person for the job, for the role. But as a black man who understands, okay, you know, just the disparities and understands whatever you want to call it. like, how do you go about navigating that? Where it's like, hey, yeah, I definitely want to, help out people of color.
Yeah.
Because I understand that percentage wise, we're not even going to talk about just the rest of the world, what's happening, but even like within this industry, like we do not get a full fair shake in this industry. So like, how do you navigate that? Because I know that's a tough thing.
Yeah, so it is tough, right? But I wouldn't say it's tough with the companies, right? Because a lot of top tech companies, they want diversity, right?
Yeah.
Diversity and inclusion is a huge initiative that everyone is pretty much taking on. And if you're not taking on, what are you doing, right? If you're not taking this on, what are you doing? But personally, like I said, my thought process is you can't be what you can't see, right? You have to know what's going on. You have to know what you're looking for. So since I know exactly, the roles I'm recruiting for, if I go out and find a minority that I feel is qualified, right? It's not like I just pick a random and say, okay, you're black, I want to get you in the door, right? Yeah. But someone who's worked to get to this point in their life and their career, I build that relationship with them. I don't just hop on the phone and say, hey, this is, what we're trying to do. Let's start the interview process. I prep them, right? I talk to them. I understand, like, driving factors. Like, what are you looking for in this next company, right? What are your expectations? What do you want to work on? And let's see if that aligns. And if that does align, I give them my personal recipe for success. And I think I'm pretty successful when it comes to recruiting, right? If as long as they, listen, are open to taking the advice that I have, and of course, master their own craft. That's really what it's all about. So,
man, you actually got me thinking about something. This isn't even a question that I have down, but what does it look like for a recruiter to be successful? Like, what is because in other roles, we had Tay on Tech in here, cybersecurity. Yeah. It's like, okay, they're successful if, they're defending the security of their company, or, myself as a sales engineer, I'm successful if I have good product knowledge of my company's technology and if I'm doing good demos.
Right.
And so we can go down a list of what's successful. So as a recruiter, especially in big tech, what does it look like to be successful?
That's a fantastic question. So success as a technical recruiter really looks like getting people hired, right? Yeah. And not just getting people hired. You really want to hire on a diverse slate, right? So you really want to, your hires to kind of look like the market, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say 25% of minorities work in software engineering, right?
Yeah.
Out of every 4 hires, I want to get a minority, right? Or if it's 20% women. I hate that I don't know those exact statistics offhand because at one point I did, but I want to resemble the market, right? Yeah. So I think that's really important to the success of being a technical recruiter, at least a really experienced technical recruiter that can work at those big tech companies because they really want their companies to resemble the current market, right? Yeah. Also, you need to get hires, right? Yeah. So whatever your metrics looks like, the company will define like a goal or an objective for you. So you really want to meet those expectations. But I don't know if you ever heard this, but I feel as a minority, you need to work twice as fast to make half the mistakes. So whatever those objections are, I try to exceed those, and that's how I pretty much stay in my space. And I appreciate it, right? I don't take it for granted, right? It's a blessing to have and earn like I do. So, I follow through on my job and just, try to close every deal I can.
Yeah, is a part of that also you hiring someone that, because obviously job hopping is a really popular thing, and it's been popular for a couple of years now. So, as a recruiter, does that ever fall back on recruiters where it's like, okay, let's say a recruiter brings someone on, the hiring manager, the whole team, everybody's like, yeah, we like him, we want to hire and bring him on. Okay.
It's never that simple. It's never that simple. But yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's a very condensed, very extremely condensed version of the entire process.
Right.
But after the process, whether it's 4 rounds, 5 rounds, 6 rounds of interviews, person accepts the offer letter, they come on. 4 months later, they decide to either job hop, like jump to another company, or let's say they're like grossly underperforming. Does that ever
come back
look bad on like technical recruiters or recruiters, tech recruiters in general?
Yeah. So no, not necessarily, right? This is a kind of winded answer, right? So I want to make sure I answer every part of that. the interview process to work at top tech companies is so thorough that if you finesse your way through that interview, congratulations to you, right? As far as people hopping, early on, you don't really see it, right? Because again, once you have these, once you have equity in the company, right, you don't vest fully once you start, right? And that's a way to hold. That's a holding pattern that these companies have. Like one company I won't mention, it's a really big tech company, right? I don't necessarily like how they pay their equity, but it really works for the long-term success, right?
Yeah.
So they may have, $1 million 4-year deal, right? But after 1 year, you only get 5%, right? But after year 3 or after year 4, you get like your latest 40%, right? So it might be 5, 10, 30, 50, or whatever's left, right? So companies, they're not,
they're smart.
They're smart, right?
Yeah.
So also, once you get to top tech companies, you're really desirable by everybody, right? But once you make that decision to work for a company, typically what you're doing as a recruiter is vetting out. Like what I said earlier is I want to see what your driving purpose is. Like, why are you looking for a new job, right? Is it because of money? Are you tired of doing what you do every day at your job? Are you worried about being laid off, right? I have to really understand that, right? That's a part of my job. And a lot of times at that stage in their career, money isn't necessarily the motive, because I recruit for more senior staff, principal candidates.
Yeah.
So they already
making money.
They already have the money, right? Yeah. So now it's more of a balance in life. I want to be comfortable. I want to work from home. I want to stay in Georgia instead of working California right now and live on acres, right? So once you understand that, it kind of helps out. And if somebody does decide to say, after 4 months I'm leaving, well, best of luck. I'm sure you have whatever good reason to do it, right? So we don't really bite that bullet.
Hey y'all, we have some incredible news that I'm super excited about to finally announce our private tech community. Yes, you heard that right. A private tech community exclusively for you all who want more than just the podcast. You want more than just the FAQs. You want to talk with tech recruiters. You want to talk with hiring managers. You want to talk with coaches. You want to talk with people that can help with editing and rewriting your resume. Maybe you're somebody where you just want to be a part of a community where we're talking about updates of what's happening in the software industry. Y'all, this community that we've launched is also going to involve a Discord where we're going to be talking about updates in tech. We're going to be talking about companies that are hiring. We're going to be talking about upcoming tech events. So that way you don't have to miss any of the gems that I know, but not even just what I know, but the gems that friends of mine that are also in the tech industry know as well. So if you want to be a part of that community, go ahead and sign up so that way you can join us. We have a few different tiers. Ultimately, it's all tuned in for you. Oh, and last thing, also within this community, we're going to be streaming all of our interviews with our podcast guests. So instead of you having to wait months to watch the videos later on, you will actually be able to watch the interviews in real time and ask your live questions to those guests. So make sure you join our tech community. Okay, that's good to know. That's something I've always kind of processed and just kind of considered. All right, so what are some of the benefits for working at big tech companies?
Okay, so the benefits kind of span across the board, right? I want to be clear, right? These nice benefits are not only for the engineers and managers, right? They really treat everyone well, right? From sourcers, recruitment coordinators to the technical recruiters, right? We all really receive nice benefits, right? So one thing that's overlooked is insurance, right? We all want insurance, right? Yeah. We all get older every day. We really want to use those benefits. So something that people may or may not know is that your insurance is covered at 100%, all right? So you don't come out of pocket for anything. And so that's huge, right? If you get married, I think your spouse is covered somewhere between 70 to 100%, really depending on the company. Children the same way. Outside of that, you're getting like huge bonuses just for meeting the expectations, right? And let me not just say just meeting the expectations, right? Because the expectations are set pretty high, right? But you get really good incentives to stay, right? Yeah. Cash at the end of the year. Ridiculous amounts of PTO, right? It's almost like unlimited. It's almost like unlimited everywhere.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. A lot of different companies have unlimited PTO.
Yeah, maternity leave, paternity leave. If you as a man get someone pregnant, that when that baby's born, I need to, be a father. I need to step back. You get maybe 2-3 months off paid.
Whoa, for the men?
Yeah. So
that's unheard of.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's really about a work-life balance, right? Once you get there, right, it's like you really, I'm here now.
Yeah, exactly.
I worked so hard to get here, and they treat you as such. You know?
That's good. Yeah, I know. I've mentioned to people some of the other benefits, but a lot of the benefits I've talked about before are so extremely common for just even small tech companies. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I wanted to ask that to know, hey, what are some of the things with big tech companies? Because a lot of half the things you mentioned, I would say, a lot of smaller tech or to mid-sized tech companies don't have some of those benefits. Especially the father getting maternity leave. I'm like, dang it, that's definitely something in big tech. I haven't worked in big tech, so I'm like, okay, I've never, when I went down to benefits package, I'm like, I ain't never see that one. And that's a good one.
It's crazy. It's just really understanding culture. But the paternity leave is crazy. The cash that they give you is crazy. Breaks for different seasons, right? They understand kids being out of school. So if you have children, you really don't have to worry. Pretty much anything. It's almost it's so ridiculous to even say it, but it's just just come to work when you can. Yeah.
I have friends. I have some really good friend of mine. We served in the Marine Corps together, and man, he's kind of not doing so well right now, and he's looking into getting into the industry. Mm-hmm. And I had a whole conversation with him talking about the industry, different things. And he was like, because he's not on Instagram, so he hasn't seen everything. He doesn't know about all the stuff. But he was like, Cyrus, okay, look, I know you, I trust you. He was like, this sounds like a pipe dream. Right. He was like, he's like, no, what's the catch?
Right.
What's the catch? And I was like, the catch is you work hard. You work hard, work smart. And be a good fit for the culture.
No, for sure. You don't just want it bad enough. You definitely have to put in the work. But once you do it, man, the benefits are crazy.
Yeah, bro, that's insane, man. I'm still tripping off this. I ain't never heard about
the paternity leave.
Yeah, but I'm like, hold up now.
Handle your business, man.
Yeah, that's dope. So when we talk about job interviews. One of the things that I typically tell people is their first interview is gonna be what's called either a screening call. Mm-hmm. What is the purpose of that screening call, or is that really considered a first round interview? How is that treated from the perspective of technical recruiters?
Okay, so engineers, take this seriously, right? When I call you and I want to talk to you, I'm really trying to feel you out, right? Are you a good fit? Do you seem to fit the description of what we're looking for, right? A lot of times I said when you're in top tech, those candidates are super desirable and they know it. So they almost like the baddies.
They got a little bougie.
They like the baddies of the tech industry, right? But they know everybody wants them, right? But still, if the right company calls, they're going to answer that call and speak transparent, be fully transparent. So in those calls, yes, it is an interview. It's very casual, right? It's never super important that you say all of the right words. But it's important to have that call, right? So we're checking for likability, right? Mm-hmm. Technical aptitude, what have you done in the past, and what are your interests, right? So it may be a 15-minute call. I've had calls last up to 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
Just really depending
on screening call.
Yeah, really just depending on that person's interest in the company. Here's another thing that's important to mention. If you're already in top tech, right? A lot of times you could skip one of those interviews, right? So let's say I hop on a call with you and you work for top tech company 3 and I'm at top tech company 2. Well, my thought process is, he did enough to get to top tech company so-and-so, right?
Yeah.
He could probably do it here. So instead of wasting his time to do maybe a 45-minute to an hour technical phone screen, we should do a quick code assessment. Let's just bring this person right on site to let them know that we're really interested and we're going to get the ball rolling. But again, you can't do that without that conversation, right? Yeah. So super important.
Yeah, man. That's really good even for me to hear, because so far, again, haven't been in big tech. So the screening calls, from my perspective and my vantage point, have always I've been able to recognize, okay, this is really their way to see, my timely, like, okay, but before I waste everyone's time or before they waste my time,
right.
Okay, I can tell they're trying to see, okay, are you actually showing up to the interview?
Right.
Okay, are you a good communicator? Are you competent? Things like that.
Are you on schedule? Like, you know.
But just hearing you talk about what it's like with big tech, especially big tech, and it be with people that are more senior level, it's like, okay, I can tell that there's a level of seriousness and sobriety that comes with it that might not come with smaller tech companies.
Yeah, and that's not to discredit smaller tech companies, right? They're working just like the engineers are working, right, to get to that status. But once you get to that status, right, you kind of have a template already set out of what you want, what you're looking for, what you already know, right? And again, like I said, those engineers that are at that high level already know what they're looking for, what they're expecting from a company. They already want all of those good benefits, including the paternity leave. And so as a way we show initiative is like, okay, we know you're valuable. We know you have things to do. So let us not waste your time, right? You're not going to waste ours. Let's bring it on. This is what the process looks like. And that's where my job picks up, just explaining, what to look for, how the interview process looks like, how much time we need you to prepare for it, because once we get it started, right, we're looking for success, right? We don't want to just push you through the process to not succeed. Yeah. That's another thing, right? To be a good quality technical recruiter, you really want to build that relationship, right? Don't just go through the process and like not talk to the candidate. You want to know, man, is this a stressful week for you? Like, did something happen this week? Because we could cancel this interview and reschedule it for another week. Let's make it make sense for everyone.
That's good.
Listen, once we want you, right?
Yeah.
But we want to show that we care about you too.
You want to start showing the candidate the company's culture.
Right now.
Yeah, that's good.
Right now. Like, the candidate experience is really important, right? So that's just a part of the game, right? If I hear it in their voice, if I hear panic perhaps or like anxiety, listen, we might have you scheduled for Monday, but I'm sure everybody is okay with, rescheduling for the following Monday or whenever you're comfortable, right? Let's just get it done and enjoy ourselves through the process, right?
Ooh,
take
that's
a deep
good.
breath. Yeah. No,
but that's I love like that introduction of the company culture before they even are a part of the company. So it's like them really getting a good feel of the company beforehand. That's dope.
You want to sell it to them, right? Because again, once they pass that really difficult interview, everybody wants this person.
Yeah.
Right? So like, don't wait till they pass the interview to be nice and kind, right? You started off day one when we meet, because I see the quality, I see the potential in you, and I want you to know that this isn't an act, right? This is really how we are. Yeah. We really are welcoming. We really want you to succeed, and once you come on, we want you to stay. So.
I've told this story a few times about how when I first got in the industry, it took me about 2.5 to 3 months before I even shared on social media about the industry. And the reason why was because when I started at my first company, I was like, yo, there's no way like this company, like companies are this dope, this nice. And then after like a month went by, because you always waiting to be like, okay, now what's really going on? Then after a month went by, I was like, oh snap, this company's really like this. Then between month 2 and month 3, I was like, oh no, this is the general culture of this industry.
It's really like
and then
that.
When I realized that, that's when I was like, oh man, I gotta talk about this on social media. I'm like, because people don't realize, like, there's a bag here, but one of the things people are constantly asking is like, yo, what is, how does it feel being? And I'm like, man, it's nothing better. Like, in terms of like working a job that I just can't imagine.
You work from home too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. Yo, so one of the most in-demand roles in tech, and one of the most roles that you all ask us about the most, is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is one of the most recession-proof style jobs in tech. And to take it a step further, it's also a job where you can make a crap ton of money in this industry. Many of you have been asking us about the best route to get into cybersecurity. There are a few different routes that you can go, a couple different boot camps that I think are really great for cybersecurity. But recently we just partnered with one called Syntax Technologies. They are one of the most highly rated boot camps in the US. And to take it a step further, their boot camp isn't just under $5,000, but also they provided us with a unique discount to provide to our audience. So that way you all do not have to pay the full price for the boot camp. This also involves any discounts they might have, any special sales that they might have. You can use this discount on top of their sale. Now listen, y'all, their cohorts are limited. They only have about 3 cohorts a year, and it's on a first come, first serve basis. So make sure you go ahead and sign up ASAP so you can speak to an advisor, and that way you can enroll in Syntax Technologies and become a cybersecurity analyst. Bro, I love it so much, dude. So going to that, obviously both of us being black men, being men of color, you know, our community oftentimes is also concerned about thinking, hey, you know, I don't think I can get in that industry because are they accepting black people, or them looking at their skin, whether they're black or brown, them looking at their skin as something that'll keep them from being in the industry. But me being in here, my vantage point, I'm like, no, like I actually think there are a lot of pros to being a person of color in this industry. And I know that that's something that you're aware of as well. And again, you're better situated to understand those pros. So as a technical recruiter and as someone who's been in this industry much longer than I have, what would you say are some of the pros of being a person of color in tech?
Right. So we all know, right, growing up black, right, it's not easy, right? Yeah. So when it comes to the tech part of things, right, what big tech is doing is really acknowledging the previous struggles that we went through, and we're really setting out to find you, right? As you know, LinkedIn is a powerful tool, right? Yeah. You let them know what you do. We're going to find you. So one of the benefits of being a minority, right, so not just black, but a woman, any minority, right, is we're going to find you, and we're going to really try our hardest to prepare you the best way that we possibly can. All you have to do is, get your degree, right? Show us that you have interest. We will find you. That's without a doubt, okay? That sounds kind of crazy, but we are really looking for that quality talent every day, right? So being a minority in that aspect, right, you would definitely get the shot. Yeah. And again, it's not like we're just
giving it out.
It's not that we're just giving it out, right? But as a minority, right, I want to find you. I want you to see this opportunity. I want you to go through the process, pass or fail, so you can know what's out there. And if you do fail, take this in, take a year or two, get your mind together, collect your thoughts, and let's try it again, right? Yeah. Because it's here for you, right? Yeah. Not just everybody else.
Yeah, I love that. So you saying you just mentioned how you'll be able to find people. Like, what are some ways that technical recruiters, like, how do you find people of color on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is not the only tool, right? But you do have different methods of searching for minorities on LinkedIn, right? I don't necessarily want to go too deep into it, but as a recruiter, right, you just have your own strategy. So I also use Twitter to find minorities, different hashtags. When Clubhouse was a thing, I get on Clubhouse and just kind of listen in on conversations.
So you mentioned hashtags.
Yeah.
So I talked to people about this before, but I don't know necessarily how potent it is. So let's say, like, what are some hashtags you think people should consider using on LinkedIn or on Twitter that maybe can make it easier for a recruiter to find them?
Open to work, right?
Open to work.
Software engineer. If you're not like a generalist software engineer, right, tag your discipline, right?
Yeah, like it's like Python or...
Not necessarily like a coding language, but you can do the coding language. But I'm an embedded engineer. Hashtag embedded. Hashtag Android. Hashtag iOS, right? Help me find you because I'm looking for you. And a lot of the sourcing is unorthodox. Yeah. But that's how you find people, right? Because everybody's reaching out for the same people and they're using like the same sourcing strategies. So anything that you could do to help me find you, it works. Also, HBCU grads, list your college, right? I'm searching HBCUs. I'm searching all women institutions. Yeah. Fraternities and sororities. I'm looking for it. Yeah. Right. That's all a part of my search. So these things can really help you be noticed, and they actually work, right? It's not just me talking. This is really what people who take this job seriously do. Right?
Yeah. So obviously you're a senior technical recruiter. Is it pretty similar for, let's say there are recruiters that hire for product teams, or there's recruiters that hire for tech sales? Is it a pretty somewhat similar process with them where they might search through certain tech sales hashtags or certain product type of hashtags?
Yeah, so I'm not an expert, so I don't want to speak on what I don't know, but my opinion is it would be of your best interest to put what you do out there, right? If you're looking to work, if you're open to work, right, that's a big hashtag to use. Put it on your LinkedIn page. I'm open to work. It's okay. Like, your job can't fire you for that, okay? They can't. So just put it out there. Any hashtag that you could think of, whether you're in technical sales, cybersecurity, whatever the case may be. Put your skills, put your interests out, and we'll come and find you for sure.
That's good, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's super important, because I've seen some people that are on LinkedIn and either one, they don't have that open to work, or they're very focused on applying to companies and reaching out to the recruiters. But it's like, man, you can also help them find you by posting content, but you kind of doubling down and mentioning like the hashtags, different hashtags to mention, like that's incredibly valuable. Yeah,
get current, right? So if you're like, I'm not into social media, I'm not into these internet platforms, right? Then just tell me you don't want a job. Tell me you don't want to make no money. Yeah. Because that's just where we are, right? Yeah. So regardless of what you feel, right, you have to adapt to the world. And right now, it's a tech world, right? Yeah. So if you want to work at a tech company and you're not using the technology, it may be a little difficult to break in, you know?
Bro, that's a whole bar. That's a whole bar what you just said. Yeah. That's real, bro. I love that. We definitely gotta clip that statement right there.
Yeah, no, really.
That's good. Man, so what are some tips and advice that you can give people during the interview process?
Sure. So first thing, take your time, right? Be fully transparent. If a recruiter reaches out to you, it's because they want you. It's not because we want to waste time. So understand what you know. Answer those questions like to the best of your ability, right? If I tell you I'm reaching out for a specific domain, if that's not your domain, let me know that's not your domain. Let me know what you're interested in. And if I'm not looking for that specifically, maybe one of my colleagues are, and we can work that out, right? Also, everyone, if you're applying for a job online, right, don't use the same resume everywhere, okay? A simple trick, look at the job description, copy, paste some of those keywords, right? If this is something that you're interested in, put those keywords in. This is how we find resumes, right? I'm looking for engineers that have experience in C++, Java, whatever I'm looking for, right? If that job description is telling you what we're looking for, be that person. Yeah. If that's what you want to do, be that person. At least, I don't want to say trick me, right? But if you trick me, you trick me. Yeah. Right? But that's my job. I need to filter through those candidates and figure out if I'm being tricked or not. Yeah. Don't overlook that, right? So it takes an extra maybe 10 minutes to change the resume, tweak your resume a little bit. It's definitely worth it. It'll at least get your resume looked at, and you may get that big call that you're looking for.
Bro, that's very good. I love that kind of comment about looking at what the job description is and taking some of those pieces and including it into the resume.
Let me know you're serious.
Yeah.
Let me know you're serious.
I've heard recruiters speak to mentioning some of those things during the interview process, but I never heard of or even thought about like, including some of those things into your resume.
I mean, because the software engineering world is so vast, right? People just think of like apps and things. There's so many different industries within this industry, like that it's really hard to decipher. So when I'm reading through these resumes, right, of course I'm looking for good quality candidates, right? But if I'm looking through 1,000 resumes in a week, right?
That's crazy.
At one point, I'm gonna start looking for keywords. Yeah. What makes sense? Where did you go to college? Where did you work in the past? And what did you do? What's your projects look like? And just because I said that, those things aren't like the only defining factors, right? Where you go to college at it and where you worked previously, they do help. There is incentive with that. But if your resume matches my job description that I thoroughly understand already, that's almost a guarantee that I'm gonna look at it And if I'm uncertain, I'm gonna show this to my hiring manager and say, "What do you think about that?"
Yeah.
Right. So that's a big deal for you because at least you're coming across that table, right? You're in that pipeline.
Bro, that's so good, so helpful. All right, so we talked a lot about what technical recruiters do, and we've also talked about what can set someone up best for success when dealing with technical recruiters or dealing with the interviewing and hiring process. But what does it take for someone to become a technical recruiter?
Yeah, so I think to become a technical recruiter, you have to know what one is, right? Again, you can't be what you can't see, right?
Yeah,
If you
bro,
never,
I love that quote.
If you never heard about it, right, there's no way for you to accomplish it. You don't really need a specific degree, right, to get started. But you do want a college degree. And the way that process looks is typically, at least my process, I started out as a recruitment coordinator, right? And that's essentially someone that's scheduling interviews, right? Recruiter might say, hey, bring this person in at 4:00 for an interview. Okay, look, I just send a prep email, get it out there. That's the easiest way to break in the door, right? I think that is completely overlooked, but because this whole process is cohesive from recruiting coordinator to sourcer to technical recruiter, all of these parts work together, and that's the best, quickest way to get started, right? Apply for those companies, right? Apply. Copy the darn job description. What are you looking for? Oh yeah, I've done this. Even if you worked in sales or somewhere, make it make sense to me, right?
Yeah, just know how to communicate the transferable skills.
Please do. Exactly. You said that better than I could have even got it out right now. But just let us know what that you can do what we're asking for, right?
Yeah.
Once you get in as a recruitment coordinator, I think that's the best way, especially if you get in with a big company. But if not, that's totally fine. Go through the process. From a recruitment coordinator, you can become a sourcer, right? And that's a really important job to actually go out and source the talent, right? So what are they doing? They're looking for the talent. That's it, right? Once they find that talent, they'll send that to a technical recruiter. That sourcing job is so important because that's really where you start getting the cash. You get the notoriety and you really understand what you're looking for, and that's where you add your value, right? Once you can really say, okay, I talked to this hiring manager, this is what he wants, I thoroughly understand that, and I'm the person to find him, right? Because then you kind of get it in you that this is really what I want to do. I really want to check this box. And from there you become a technical recruiter, and if you go through that process, right, you're so desirable for so many people just because they know that you really understand the process, and they just build confidence in you, or they have confidence in you. So that was my process. It worked for me. And I think that's a really easy, straightforward way to get into it.